Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing Terminator Dark Fate. This was directed by Tim Miller and stars Mackenzie Davis, Natalia Reyes, Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this film really takes place many years after the events of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And the focus now is put onto Danny, played by Natalia Reyes. A young girl from Mexico who ultimately is sort of the mother figure of the family, looking after her brother and father. She works in a factory with her brother, and unbeknownst to her, she's ultimately targeted for termination. A new Terminator called Rev 9, played by Gabriel Luna, returns from the future. It's ultimately a different type of Terminator that can split into two. And she ultimately has to fight for her life. And also from the future, a protector comes back, named Grace, who's a human that has been enhanced. And this is played by Mackenzie Davis. And ultimately it becomes a race against time for Grace to protect Danny and to try and work out how to stop the Terminator from killing her. Along the way they ultimately come in contact with Sarah Connor, once again played by Linda Hamilton, and also a different T-800 played by, once again, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it's about all of them banding together to protect Danny. She serves an important purpose in the future, but we just don't quite know what it is to begin with, and it's slowly revealed throughout the film. Look, most of all, I thought this film was solid. It ultimately is the best sequel we've had since Terminator 2, in my opinion. It isn't brilliant, but it introduces some new ideas, which I thought was really interesting. There's things that take place within this film that you're not quite sure if they work or not. Take a big risk with the way that the film goes, closing off old storylines and introducing new ones, and how they go about doing that. And it kind of works for the most part. This is kind of the last chance for this ultimate series, this franchise. It just hasn't had a good run for a number of years. The first two movies are really great, and I really like the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and Terminator Salvation has some good ideas but isn't a perfect film. This is their last chance. Ultimately, James Cameron was heavily involved in the story, but it just feels a bit like Elite. He wasn't as involved as he could have been. And there was reports that there is 2 other films to come from this, so depending on the success of this, we might get 2 other films. I like the ideas that are introduced to this film. There's some shocking things that take you a little while to wrap your head around, and it's sometimes a hard pill to swallow, but I can see what they were doing with this film. It's beautifully shot in a lot of ways. Especially the opening sequence where we get to see Terminators on a beach. That looks really fantastic. It's probably the best visual effects and practicality I've seen in this sort of series. It's a hard series to breathe new breath into because it's been done many times, and they do try hard to do something different, which I respect, because we can't keep following the John Connor storyline. We had to do something different, and this sort of looks at that and how they can try and change that. I think most of the acting is solid. The real standouts here are Mackenzie Davis, who's a brilliant actress, who's really great as Grace here. She's an actress who's very believable in every role she takes on. Each role's sort of different, and she has this great ability to make it sort of grounded and real, and you sort of believe this character, and I really love that about her performance here, and she really stands out in many ways and has some really great fight sequences in it that I really love. I think Linda Hamilton coming back is solid. It's good to have that sort of character back, Sarah Connor once again, and she's really great. She's aged, she's much older than she was when we saw her last, but it adds a lot of gravity to the character. She's very damaged, and she's been affected by the experiences that she's had through her life, especially the last few years. I think Natalia Reyes is okay. She sort of plays a little bit of a damsel in distress to begin with, and she becomes a better character towards the end of the film to buy her as this strong, capable person. I think they tried their best to try and introduce this character in the way they introduced Sarah Connor in the first film. But I just felt the way they went about it in the first film sort of showed you who this character was. And in this, they didn't sort of have that moment. They only had a couple of scenes with her before the action begins, before the storyline starts, that we don't really get a sense of her enough. It has an interesting pace. It starts with a bit of story and exposition, and then it's sort of straight into the action. It's the most action-filled start to one of the Terminator films that I think I've ever seen. That's just relentless. And it's the type of film that has breaks in the middle where we learn more about the characters and what's going on and all that sort of stuff. And then we get back into the action. And each action set piece is quite good. Unfortunately, there's a lot of digital fight sequences in it that you can really tell, and it doesn't work for me. Especially there's this whole set piece that takes place on a plane, and then a crashing plane. and it's just all digital and it just doesn't quite look quite right. I miss the days of practicality, and like Tim Miller is very well known for doing visual effects and he's quite good at most of them. I just don't think all of them work in this film in that regard, and I would have rather practical people doing practical things. The new Terminator, the Rev 9, played by Gabriel Luna, is kind of a bland sort of character. There's not much to him. He doesn't have much charisma. He doesn't have, you know, that presence that Schwarzenegger has, or even that Robert Patrick had playing the T-1000 in Terminator 2. He just doesn't have that, so he's not the most interesting Terminator out of the Terminators they've created for this franchise. But the other real standout here is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's fantastic. He's really having fun with this character he's playing in this, another T-800. They do something really interesting with him. He even gives himself a human name, and that really is really funny and works really well. I don't know if I like the choices they made with the character and where they decided to take it and the reason he's there and he's doing what he's doing. And they try and make him more human in many ways, and I just don't know if that works. I don't know if I buy that. We get to see a bit of the future once again, which I really liked, and we get to see Grace, the Grace character played by Mackenzie Davis, and how she was kind of enhanced. And I really like that. We even get a bit of backstory of who she was and where she came from after ultimately the machines take over. They play a little bit with the Skynet idea and they change that quite a bit. I don't know if that quite works. In a lot of ways, this film feels like it's been trying to be stripped down bare to like the original film. It's very simply made, the storyline's very simple. It's trying to do something different, but it feels so familiar in many ways. The Danny character feels like familiar ground. She feels a cross between Sarah Connor and John Connor. I don't know if that's something that's different enough. I just feel it's too familiar. Some of the criticisms for me comes revolving around the visual effects and the digital people that they have in this. There's a scene in particular where the Rev 9 is jumping around on a cage in a sort of a border patrol prison area. That looks horrible. You can really tell it's visual effects. And there's a lot of other scenes throughout. You feel that as well. This has a little pet peeve of mine that I've been noticing a lot more in films. Is it just too dark? There's moments in this film that are way too dark and you can't see what's going on at all. This is an increasing thing I've seen in a number of films, and it's something that's starting to really annoy me. Final thoughts. This is far better, in my opinion, than Genesis. I thought Genesis was a muddled mess. The technology is quite good in the idea of how they think they would evolve. I would have liked to have seen a lot more of the future than we got to see, but I think we saw enough. I just didn't think it was as good as it could have been. It just didn't have the feel of Terminator like the other two did. I'm going to give Terminator Dark Fate 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was above average and solid, and it was a lot better than the previous sequels that we've had. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe down the bottom. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.